Hi kids, I'm Rodney.
And this is Primally Plated.
Today we're going to think about a little summer action and jump into some seafood. So let's get started. I'm going way back for the inspiration for this dish. In France they do a technique, mostly with seafood is what it works best with, vegetables. When you start getting into game and you know, wild game and birds, it can get a little hairy, but great for seafood. And it's called en papillote. It means in a pocket. And generally in France this technique would be to use baking paper, parchment paper, and put the seafood and seasonings, whatever your likings are, and seal it up into this folded pouch of parchment paper, bake it in the oven, and it steams within the pouch. And so you get whatever influences you add in the way of seasoning and herbs and vegetables, what have you, as well as the natural juices from the fish itself. And it's just like, it's the most simple, easiest preparation. If you have zero cooking skills, you can pull this one off. So it's super easy. But rather than use the baking paper, because if you haven't done it before, it's kind of a pain in the neck. To get a good fold on the parchment paper and get a nice seal to where it really steams up and does what it's supposed to do, so it takes a little practice. So we're going to simplify things, we're going to modernize things, we're going to use aluminum foil. And where I learned about this aluminum foil thing goes back to my senior year in high school in San Diego, Chula Vista. We did one of the first restaurants I ever worked in was called Mulvaney's. Three surfer dudes started a restaurant chain, steak and seafood salad bar. It was fantastic food, incredible ambiance, just fun, fun, fun. At one point I think they had about 6 restaurants, and we used to do this preparation in the aluminum foil. Over the years, I've done it for so many years. I don't know if you remember, a lot of you my age might remember Jiffy Pop popcorn, where you put it on the stove and shake it and the popcorn steams inside and pops and the aluminum foil swells up. So I call this dish Jiffy Fish. I've got some fresh basil leaves from the garden, and we're just going to pick those off of the big stems. What we want to do here is do a cut that's called julienne and make it pretty easy. I find the easiest way to do this is to just start with the big leaves and kind of just lay them out side by side with the cup ends up, and just sort of set them inside of each other. Doesn't have to be all too crazy or fancy. And you sort of just roll it up like a little cigar and do a nice thin slice, and that is called julienne. Baby heirloom tomatoes of different colors, organic of course, because that's our default, is grass-fed, wild-caught, organic stuff. And what we're going to do with the organic tomatoes is just simply cut those in half. Go ahead and pop a little Himalayan pink sea salt in there. Toss that around. And I like to do this a little bit ahead of time, because then it sort of pulls out some of the water and we can drain that. We're going to go ahead and wrap up our fish. So we've just got some Reynolds wrap, heavy duty strength is the way to go. And we're going to get a nice square portion and put the dull side up. Alright, this is a couple of fillets of Alaskan halibut that we're using today. And so we're going to put a little bit of olive oil on the bottom so that there's no chance of that fish sticking. And we're just going to lay these two pieces side by side. Always helps if you've got stuff that's sort of the same thickness. Now what we're doing is, you've got this big square piece of paper. We're going to end up folding the bottom up and creating a seal around the edges. So we're going to line these up towards the top half so we have the room to fold. So what we're going to do for seasoning, we're going to use two different kinds of salt here. I've got a beautiful Chardonnay sea salt. It's French gray salt that's set over top of a rack, and Chardonnay barrels are burned to create a smoky color and a nice grayness. So that's just going to add a hint of smoke and some beautiful flavor. And then we're just going to squeeze a little bit of lemon juice, not a lot because you've got that wheel there. The reason I put the wheel, besides that it looks nice, it's the oil from the yellow skin or rind really has more flavor and richness than the juice. And you want to put a super thin fine slice like that, because if you get too thick or you put too much, then it's going to get bitter, and we don't want that. So and then we're going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil on top, and then we're going to finish it with a little cracked black pepper, not a lot, and then we're going to give it a nice color. Put some Hawaiian red sea salt. This is just sea salt with a little Hawaiian red clay, and this is just going to add a super nice minerality along with that smoked salt. So good stuff. Okay, now once again we're going to fold the bottom of this up, and we got to leave a little bit of room for it to puff up and swell and steam. So get a nice little fold going, get a good press, and then fold that over just a couple of times. Getting a super tight seal. That should be good. And then we're going to do the same on each side. Now you can feel where the fish is, so we've got plenty of room on the sides here. So we're going to take that in just a little bit. Fold that really nice. And then the same on this side. See? This is, like I said, it doesn't get any easier than this, kids. So we're just going to take that and put that right in the center of the oven. Let's make sure the rack is in the center. We're going to let that do its beautiful thing. Now, let's go ahead and finish our salad. So, if the tomatoes have been sitting with the salt a little bit, we're just going to go ahead and, see that? That quick. Just drained off some of the water there because we don't need that. We don't want a salad that's floating. So we'll take this, pop that into a metal bowl. These are just whole, uncooked almonds. I like them whole. I like a little crunchiness, and almond goes really well with this, as you'll see. A little olive oil, and we just, once again, you never want a salad floating with dressing. You just want it lightly tossed, enough to coat it and season it. Okay, so this chicken stock with the olive oil and a little bit of lemon juice has just begun to simmer rapidly. So we're going to turn that down just a little bit, and we're just going to gently lay the broccolini in the liquid. We're just going to make sure that that is all immersed. We turn it over a little bit in a while, but we're just going to let that simmer really low. And you know, we don't want the vegetables to be overcooked. We want those, as they say in Italy, al dente, which means to the tooth, so it's so raw and crunchy enough in the center. So we're just going to take a peek at the Jiffy fish, and it's perfect. It's just getting ready to swell up, so we don't have a long time left there. How easy is this dish? It's crazy. So we're just turning over this broccoli a little bit, a couple times throughout, to make sure all the sides get wet, and it's looking pretty good. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to take the broccoli off of the heat. The liquid will keep it warm, so it's not going to get cold. Turn this burner off. Let's take a peek at our fish at this point. I think we should be just about there. It wasn't super thick. You know, on this fish dish too, you can use anything. I wouldn't use any kind of dense fish like shark, swordfish, marlin, anything dense, but anything flaky, salmon, halibut, cod, mahi, grouper if you're in Florida, anything like that would work perfect. Okay, so here we go, and now you'll know what I mean by jiffy fish. It's all just swallowing up, steamed inside, lots of good juices simmering in there, and you're good to go. And we're going to pull the fish onto the cutting board, turn the oven off so we don't forget. Now there's steam in there, okay, so don't be holding your mug over the aluminum foil and getting blasted by steam, right? Alright, that is just about as perfect as it gets. Seasoned fish, cooked in its own juices, looks beautiful. Super clean, healthy fish dish that's about as easy to make as you can get. And there you go.